Hey guys, it's me Kevin and welcome to my new 4-part AFL series on the future of Australian football franchises. In these 4 episodes, I will be talking about whether and when Tasmania should join the AFL, which teams should be awarded with the Team 20 licence, whether any Victorian clubs should relocate to other states, and how a 20-team competition would work in the AFL. But in today's video, I will be talking specifically about Tasmania, as to what are the positives and negatives about them joining the competition, and when they should join, and what the club would look like. So recently, Tassie Premier Peter Gutwein put off negotiations with the AFL over Hawthorn and North Melbourne playing games in Tasmania. He demanded that he would not renew the contracts unless he was given a clear date as to when Tassie would join the AFL. He demanded the AFL to give him a response by Friday the 19th, my bad. But the AFL said, give us another year to consider it. So that's pissed off Peter Gutwein, and that's put Tassie's hopes of an AFL team in jeopardy again. Now, he moved to 2025, Peter Gutwein, and I think that's a reasonable date. I'll get to that in a minute, but I think Tasmania should be given an AFL team. I mean, let's face it, they're a footballing state, okay? They've had rich football history since the 1900s, even beforehand. They've had some pretty good state of origin games, and well, there's been some great champions come out of the state, like Nick Riewoldt, Jack Riewoldt, just to name a few. So yeah, I think it's a no-brainer for Tasmania to get an AFL team. They're the only mainland state without a team as well, mind you. So that is why I think Tasmania should get a team. What are the cons? Well, I really don't know. They say lack of population, lack of infrastructure, but remember, Peter Gutwein is... he's willing to invest in a Tassie AFL team, upgrade the infrastructure, upgrade the grounds. He is willing to invest in the team, so that shouldn't give the AFL... That should give the AFL a bit of reassurance that it would work. And then there's also other factors such as, well, it's going to further dilute the talent pool, adding 2 new teams. I will get to that in a future video. But I feel like in this instance, the advantages outweigh the disadvantages. And remember, okay, it kind of needs to happen soon, because there's an argument going around that if they don't get a team soon, then participation rates in Tasmania would die down and AFL would become non-existent there. And you don't want to see that happen, particularly when you're trying to grow the game in every corner of the country. So I reckon Tassie should be given a team soon. In a YouTube video last year, as well as my English exam, I argued as to why North Melbourne should make a move to Tasmania permanently and become the Tassie Kangaroos. Now, a lot of viewers criticised that and said, nah, North aren't going anywhere. And to be fair, I am against North going to Tassie now, for a couple of reasons. For one, I realised that North Melbourne didn't get the same support as Hawthorn did in Launceston. So if anything, it would have been more beneficial for Tasmania to get Hawthorn to be the Tassie Hawks rather than the Tassie Kangaroos. Although I'm against Hawthorn going down there, definitely, because their fan base in Melbourne's way too large for them to make the move down to Tassie. But if you gave a choice to Tassie, I think they'd say Hawthorn over North. But they would also say a green Tasmanian team over Hawthorn. And I think that's what it should be. I think it should be something that signifies Tasmania. You could say the Tasmania Devils is the common one, given that the Tassie Devil is, well, Tasmania's animal, and green is their main colour. So yeah, I think Tasmania should be given its own team. Also, I feel like the AFL should expand to 20 teams to make the fixture more fair, so every team plays each other once, because right now we're having an unfair fixture where some teams play each other once and others play each other twice. And I think Tassie is an obvious candidate for the 19th team. The other issue with that is North Melbourne. They would have to travel to Tassie and then back to Melbourne, and given that I'd have to play a few games in Melbourne, Tassie would not get as many games. I feel like a standalone Tassie team would provide them with more games. Now, let's get to their identity. So, I said earlier, Tasmania Devils. The logo has pretty much already been done. It's the same one they use in the NAB League right now. I don't think there's a reason why it needs to change, really. Looks like a decent logo. So that's what I think the name and logo should be. As for their Guernsey, they should have a forest green, not a bottle green. I know Tassie is commonly associated with bottle green, but let's face it, the AFL has recently preferred the newer teams to have lighter, brighter colours. Now, I'm not suggesting Tassie to be lime green, no way. I think in the middle, the forest green, kind of like the Melbourne Stars, I feel like is a bright enough green without becoming too dark or too light, and it also means they don't have to wear their Clash Guernsey as much. Anyway, so they have a forest green Guernsey with a yellow V, which is quite iconic to Tasmania, the green and yellow and the V, and their away Guernsey is simply the same, but in reverse, a yellow Guernsey with a green V. I think they both look good, they both look iconic to Tasmania, and you can clearly tell that it's a Tassie team in that instance. As for the grounds, I reckon Tasmania should play 6 games in Hobart and 4 games in Launceston. What I think is that both York Park and Bellerive Oval should be upgraded. York Park into a 25,000-seater stadium and Bellerive Oval into 32,000-seater stadium. I don't think there's need to build a brand new stadium. I think they've got infrastructure in both of those grounds already. They just need to add more seats and just connect everything and tidy the ground up and just redevelop it so it looks relatively fresh. But I think just an upgrade to both of those stadiums would do. As for their training ground, not North Hobart Oval, because I'm for the argument that that oval should be turned into an A-League ground. But if North Hobart Oval gets converted into a soccer stadium, I reckon their next best choice is TCA ground, Tasmanian Cricket Association ground. They could just redevelop it, add a couple of change rooms, and Tasmania could train there. So yeah, the team would be based in Hobart, where they play 6 of their 10 games, and as well as training their VFL side, and if they have a NAB League side, that side too would play at the TCA ground. You could also give the argument that the AFL women's team can play at that ground as well if they deem Bellerive Oval to be too large. In that case, Tasmania's women's side would play 5 games in Hobart, whether that would be Bellerive or TCA ground or a mixture of both, and then the other 5 at York Park. So lastly, I will talk about Tasmania's primary sponsor and their club song. So I think the sponsor should be Spirit of Tasmania, which currently is a secondary sponsor for the North Melbourne Kangaroos at the moment. So yeah, I think Spirit of Tasmania should sponsor the Devils. As for their song, I reckon it should be the Glory Glory song. Whatever the actual name is, I can't remember, but it's the Glory Glory song. I think you'll know what it is. I feel like it's a traditional song, and I feel like Tasmania could do with a song that's quite traditional. And also, it's a song that's commonly used among football clubs in Australia, but no AFL team currently has it. I know the Brisbane Bears used to have it back in the 90s, but I feel like Tasmania could do with that song. I would not mind hearing it from the Devils. So, that is what I think should happen with the Tasmanian AFL team. Now, in the next few videos, I'm going to be talking about who should be Team 20, whether any Victorian clubs should relocate or play in other states, and what would happen for Hawthorn and North Melbourne, who have been playing in Tassie for so long. Where would they play their secondary games, or do they even need to play them? And then I'm also going to be talking about how the AFL would go about with a 20-team AFL competition. All that will be happening in the next few videos, so stay tuned for my next video on the AFL expansion topic. I hope you liked the video. Please like, please subscribe, please comment what you thought of the video down below, and please comment on your opinion on a Tassie AFL team and AFL expansion in general. I will be uploading another video on that next week, part 2 of 4, and check out my other videos, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.